Hey everybody, Dr. Howard Cohen here at the Cohen Health Institute with my good friend, Justin Frandson, founder of Athleticism, which is awesome. I know we're doing the Go Beyond Sleep, but we always want to hear about athleticism, so we're going to ask you that. And but we're going to talk about sleep. You don't think about sleep when you think about athletes. You think about everything they're doing when they're waking. But the sleep, the quality of sleep, the length of sleep, the program to help them sleep, the diet, the lighting, the EMFs, everything, right? It's all part of the athleticism program, which is evolving and has evolved. And I know that you're in an exciting new place where you're seeing athletes and sharing with the new stuff you're doing, some things you've learned. You're always learning and always bringing new technology. So, Justin, sleep. I'm an athlete. I come to see you. My knee's hurting. My this is not working. I'm trying to do something better. And then you go, we're going through the Rolodex of things that you teach and show and demonstrate and help people through. We're on sleep. What's the basics? What are you telling these guys?
Well, thank you for that. It's so true. Sleep is the number one most important part of wellness and healing and recovering. And it's the pillar. Quality, quantity, frequency of it is just fantastic. So how do we get that? How do we go there? How do you do it when you have a roommate? If you're a pro athlete, and this guy's out all night. I mean, how do you go when you're traveling nonstop, jet lag here, there? Maybe you have headphones on all the time, and that's just radiation in your head directly. I mean, how do you minimize all the stressors to really down-regulate your body, just ground yourself? And so that's a huge, huge question and topic. And so that's why we're hosting the summit, is to really get this information out. So one of the main things when you guys are talking about sleep is to see how you can just get yourself prepared for sleep. So what are the preparation of it? So basically it's blocking out the light, the really bright light. So at home I create a really dark environment, and it saves electricity. We just darken everything about 7:15, like everything, lights go off. There's like maybe 3 lights on in the whole house. And so everything starts to go darker. You want to have the TV, if you have a TV on, get some glasses that block out the LED lights. There's several of them out there. Blue Tech, I know Dr. Harrison recommended. You have the True Darks that Asprey loves. And so you have these fantastic products out there, really accessible. And that'll help block that so your brain actually realizes that it's nighttime. I mean, that's one of the main things, is you have to start to allow your body to get in that rhythm of when it sleeps and then when it's on. So really preparing yourself, go for a walk, breathing, meditation, journaling. I always love to journal because it helps download that day. And then you start to manifest and create. So we re-engineer what we want to happen, create it, visualize it. Prayer is huge. Doing just tons of prayer before bed. And it's not only just praying, but I think a lot of it too is how it actually manifests is the repetition of it. So when you want to really ground yourself, we do that. One of my favorite things now that we've had for many, many years is Mind Spa. And the Mind Spa that you can get at avstim.com or on our site. We have a link to it for a discounted rate. Larry was so gracious, one of our speakers was so gracious to offer that for our users. But Mind Spa, it balances your sympathetic, parasympathetic, so you go into rest digest mode. And it's fantastic because you get audio stimulation, visual stimulation, and the more consistently you do it, so you just start to do it every day, build up from 20 minutes to an hour. People are saying, well, when do I find 20 minutes or an hour? Well, if you're not sleeping, you're gonna find it. I mean, this is like, and if you're sick, you're gonna find it. Like these are things that if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not gonna be able to take care of others and produce and grow and create what you wanna create. So that's not being selfish. That's taking care of yourself first. That's a huge, huge thing. So all these tools that we have are fantastic. when you get into a really stressful situation, and you want the help of supplementation, I mean, outside of having a lighter dinner earlier, which always helps me sleep better, like guaranteed, and I'm AB, so I can have veggies, AB blood type, I can have veggies and meat, but I can assure you when I mostly have veggies, I sleep way better. But the supplementation recovery with HydroFX is one of my favorites because it just helps your body rest and recover. So when you're supposed to be recovering when you're sleeping. So it's just fantastic for it. And then super good stuff products, like Authentically, I've taken his products and they're just absolutely fantastic. So he has his REM Sleep Plus. I take some AC Carefree as well, and that will balance my adrenals, kind of knock me out a little bit and just balance my adrenals out because I rev super hard all day long. I tend to rev at a higher level of energy than most people, and I wake up at 5:30, go to bed anywhere between 10 and 11, and I'm just going all day, working out and this and that. And so the other part would be to get workouts in. Make sure you get a sweat on. Like, leave it out on the court, leave it out on the gym, in the pool, wherever you go, and then do something that you love to do. Like, really, I love to surf, so I'll go out and get the stoke of riding waves and being in the water, and the ionic charge is just so medicinal for the body, so I'll be able to ground myself and then stay in that consistent keel. Now, I may be revving higher than most, but at least it's consistent. I'm not spiking and crashing. So I think for the pro athletes, especially on game days when they're preparing for sport, it's really get to bed early and hydrate, quality hydration that day. Not the last second of night just start chugging water because you're gonna have to go to the bathroom, but have it like balanced throughout the day. I think that's fantastic. And then the one of the last things is to really clear your nasal passage. And so I love Super Good Stuff has a nasal one. There's a xylitol spray. I chew the spray gum, but they have a nasal spray as well. And just a few sprays of that. Well, if I'm waking up if I'm so excited about the next day, I'm waking up in that witching hour between 2 and 4, that'll push me closer to the 4 o'clock. And then I'll be able to not worry about it. And then I think the big part is we can talk about the clearing and shutting down electricity too.
So that is a big part, and a lot of people kind of miss that. And I know that when you treat a lot of athletes, you had mentioned it before, they're in a different hotel every night. You can manage it at home because you can make sure like we talked about, your bed's not in front of the outlet, or you can shut off the Wi-Fi or do all these things. But if you're staying in a hotel and you're traveling, they can't do it. So then you gotta protect yourself, right? So there's the phone, there's the plugs, and there's all this kind of stuff. So you have your athletes travel with some things. I know that you get them, and there's different companies that make different stuff. You have one that I know that you recommend. Can you tell people about it and how you use it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the biggest things when you're at home, all your outlets are literally live all the time. So you want to make sure that they're far away from your bed as possible in your head, because it's going to charge a higher radiation charge than we're used to for our resting state. And so that's really, really important is to position yourself in your bed where you're not having a constant stressor, even if it's just an outlet. And if you can, turn that whole circuit breaker off. Like, there's timers for that. There's timers for Wi-Fi. There's things that you can get that are amazing solutions. When you go to a hotel, those outlets for fire code are dead. They're not hot wired live. So unplug everything. And then what we do is a company that I use for the EMF solutions are basically, they have a plug, and we use crystals and magnets, and it's a formulation of crystals, magnets, heavy metals, and it changes the polarizing frequency, which man-made EMF is polarizing to the body. Really, really affects us. That's why everyone always says, don't stay right next to your TV. Don't do this, with all this electrical stuff. So the sun is one of the biggest radiation sources ever, but it's unpolarized. And so our body absorbs it and responds to it. So the solution that I have basically allows your electronics to still work, but it doesn't harm us. It's not polarizing subatomically to our body, and that's a huge distance. So there's a plug-in that you can plug in the hotel room that will balance out your room from Wi-Fi, and then you've unplugged everything so there's no electricity in it. You're going to sleep better than you've ever slept. In these hotels that are just, they have to have the strongest Wi-Fi ever. You know, it's like going on a cruise ship. I had a friend, he was on his boat in the middle of nowhere fishing, all of a sudden his phone just goes ping, you have Wi-Fi. He looks down, he's like, what the heck, I'm in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. Well, there's a cruise ship about 30 miles from him, and he picked it up and he looked at it, it was like some whatever cruise ship, and that was what he was picking up. And these things rev at millions of hertz more than what our brain rests at. So it's really about getting these stressors out of your life. And I know day-to-day stress is huge, and you can do Qigong and meditation and learn to manage that, but the unseen stressors are just the biggest. And so those are a few, so we have solutions for those as well.
That's great, because a lot of people miss that. Now, one thing that athleticism talks a lot about is diet nutrition. So obviously there's certain ways people eat they think are healthy, but end up kind of wiring their system so where they're not shutting down at night. What are some of the things you tell them in your athleticism program to kind of make sure that they have energy in the morning and throughout the day when they need it, and things are shutting down diet-wise? What do you do there?
Well, you just really want to eat way earlier. I mean, you can't have big late meals. You can't have big spikes of sugar before you go to bed. Just have to really have that meal at an earlier state. And again, I do A/B, so I can eat veggie and meat. I need it. I'm 6'2", 175. I mean, I'm like lean as it gets. If I start skipping meals and do intermittent fasting, I'm screwed and have one big, meal at bedtime. My body just doesn't really feel great. So everyone has their own recipe, but I think across the board, you can really say, like, hey, if you don't eat a lot of heavy foods, and you eat them earlier, your body's just obviously going to digest them easier, and you're not going to expend that output to need to digest it, so you're going to rest better and get better quality REM sleep. So, everybody has their own type and what their body thrives with at certain stages of their life. Like, I've eaten eggs, I think we mentioned in the last one, and then you're like, hey, no eggs for now, and so I've weaned off of that in the morning. So your body just ebbs and flows, and I think the most important thing is to really listen to your body and really have a little higher level of consciousness. And these products like the Mind Spa, just breathing, being aware of your surroundings, helping out. I mean, can you imagine having babies with these dense neighborhoods with Cat 5s going on around, and they're just pinging their brain. The babies are just like trying to sleep, and something's pinging it going, hey, wake up, and your body's just wanting to sleep. It's just, it's not the best, it's not optimal, it's not in your highest and best interest. You want to block the stuff out. You just as you want to block out the non-organic foods. You don't want pesticides in your system. You don't want genetically modified foods as your staple foods. You want things that I always say God made versus man. And when you can start to really put in quality food in your body's going to respond. And then you obviously supplement with it.
That's great. So how about things like, people always say, what bed should I sleep on? Obviously it's different for everybody, but is there anything that you recommend, either like sleep positions, beds, certain kinds of mattresses, things like that? Or how do you approach those things?
There's so many different takes on it. You got to find something that allows you to sleep all night on it. We have somewhat of a softer mattress, but not too soft, and so that works well. I find myself starting on my back, and I'll go to this one side, then I'll go to the other side. So I move around a lot at night. Unfortunately, we don't have dark out curtains.
Shades,
So I think that would be the next step for my room, to really darken it, and I think that would help a lot. because when we do go to a hotel room that is dark, we end up sleeping a lot longer for sure. But as far as the bed, the pillow is the big thing for me too. I have more of a beanbag pillow, so it form fits in my head and allows me to sleep. And I use Hero earplugs in case there's some noise next door, which unfortunately that'll wake you up too, and it does for me. And so I need to really have a buffer, and their earplugs end up being probably one of the best that I've found. And ironically enough, I think the founder lectured I went to USC, University of Southern California. For all you Trojans out there, I was in the entrepreneur program, and more exercise science was more my minor. But at that time, but we had a guest speaker, and he was the founder of Heroes, these earplugs. So I remember getting these earplugs, and it's Hear, Hear, and they are just phenomenal. So the soft foam goes in your ears, and they've been around forever. And so it's been one of my go-to products for a long time through fraternity life and then on into marriage.
Nice. So guys, sleep, so important. So Justin, any last tips, any last things you want everybody to know out there about sleep and the summit?
Well, you guys, you've heard from so many amazing speakers, and we're just keep building our list. So it's phenomenal, the information out there. The biggest thing is really preparation, blocking the lights out, letting your body prepare for sleep. And then when it's morning, look up, know that it's morning, enjoy that blue sky, and really get the stressors out of your life. And when you start to get that stressors and even the unseen ones out, you're just going to sleep better. You're going to have better digestion. The EMF is the big thing. It holds on to parasites. So you're going to have bigger bowel movements in the morning because the EMFs are gone, and you're going to be able to eliminate better, which is massive, especially with mold challenges. EMFs love mold. So I live near the ocean, and so we don't have to worry about mold challenges as well when you have EMF blockers. So getting rid of the stressors out, putting good quality in, seeing doctors like Dr. Howard Cohn and Cohn Health Institute, suite of doctors, are just absolutely like something that you need to do for prevention. So don't just wait to have something go wrong. Really go here and use it as a preventative mechanism, because these guys are so gifted at seeing what's going on in the body. They talk to the subconscious. They can find out what's happening, what you're allergic to, what you're not responding to. You take a few of those things out of the equation that you think you're like, oh, I've eaten this for 40 years. Well, right now it's keeping you up at night. So get it out of the picture, and all of a sudden you're going to start to sleep better. So find a great doc. These guys, there's no one better out there. So I highly recommend them as well. So those are the main things to really end with is look into this, be more aware, get prepared for getting a great night's sleep, and just really ground yourself. Like enjoy, relish going to bed. Know that it's just as important as just sleep hard as to play hard, and getting these stressors out and just balancing out before you go to bed will allow you to get there.
That's great. So how do people find you?
Athleticism.com. GoBeyondSummit.com. You can find us on that. Give us a ring. We'll work with you, and we'll get you those products. And I know we have so many tricks up our sleeve that we can help you out with.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for being with us again. Stay tuned. Enjoy the rest of this summit on sleep and beyond sleep, and stay tuned for the one after this, Beyond Recovery. So see you guys soon.